So again, you get some of the best ideas and learn some of the most from viewers and patients. I did a video on how you can actually do a glucose tolerance test with Mott's applesauce. John Lorscheider pointed out that was the higher sugar brand. All of them, almost all applesauce has a significant amount of available carbs. Turbo Jones, somewhere out of that video, got something about carbs and beer and started asking about it. So we did a video on it. John gave us some great information on the top 15 low-calorie, low-carb beers. And I would just let you know, at PrevMed we have some information regarding all adult alcoholic beverages. So we're going to talk today about the other alcohol beverages as well as beer. First of all, let's look at some generalities. This, by the way, is from the Diet Doctor. Low carb alcohol, the best and the worst drinks. So the range is dramatic. Champagne, very low. The reds and white wines, the dry wines, the unsweet wines, these wines, you know how a wine becomes dry. They let it continue to ferment. And you know what fermentation is, right? Fermentation is where the fungus or yeast is allowed to grow in the liquid. What is the yeast that creates ethanol or ethyl alcohol or alcohol? What does it eat? It eats sugar, fructose. So the longer the wine is allowed to ferment, the drier the wine, for the most part, and the less carbs. So the dry wines, either white or red, tend to have very few carbs. On the high end of the spectrum for carbs is beers. Actually, the lighter, yellower beers tend to have lower carbs, although some of them have a lot. It's the dark beers with the malts, the stouts. They have huge number of carbs. And those were actually my favorite beers at one time. So again, a little bit more information regarding these. According to the Diet Doctor, and I think he's got some fairly solid information here. With wines, especially the dry wines, you can maintain a fairly low carb diet. It's not going to blow it. The beers are a challenge. As he points out, there's a reason why you have the term beer belly. And many of us have thought of and still think of beer as liquid bread with an alcohol chaser. So again, just not the greatest for those of us who are trying to manage our carbs. Now, this is another way that they got into looking at and demonstrating carbs. Again, low carbs on this end of the spectrum and high carbs on that. So with low carb, just pure whiskeys. Again, what's whiskey? It's basically like a wine that has been distilled to get all of the water out of it and get down to the essence of, it's a wine or a beer that has a much higher concentration of the alcohol. Very little to any carbs in it. So if you have straight tequila, brandy, whiskey, no carbs at all. Dry martini, no carbs at all. Vodka and soda water, it's I'm not going to use that name. I'll probably get X'd out. Anyway, 0 carbs. Bloody Mary has 7 carbs. Guess where that comes from? The tomato juice. Margarita, you know, you're starting to get some sweet liqueurs in there. Gin and tonic. The tonic water has carbs in it. Cosmopolitan. And then you get all the way over here to the really high carb drinks. Vodka and orange juice and rum and Coke. And again, those carbs didn't come from the rum or the vodka. Those carbs came from orange juice and Coca-Cola, the soda. So, I hope this has been helpful for you. Got another point here. He calls these alcohol pops. Anyway, the coolers. So like Bacardi Breezer or the Smirnoff Ice, they compete with rum and Coke and vodka and orange juice for the most carbs. And again, liquid carbs, there's nothing that nails the beta cells in your pancreas like liquid carbs. We covered beers, the carb content on beers in another video. This just gives a different look at them. I think that's Michelob, isn't it? No, Bud. Yeah. Select 55 obviously has 55 calories and 1.9 carbs. It is it's taken up first place. There are a lot of beers, though, that have 4 carbs or less. Mick Ultra, Select, Natural Light, Busch Light, Light Beer, the brand Light, and Ice, Bud Ice. So a lot of options. Again, it's the stouts and the dark beers and the sweet beers that weigh in on the other end of the spectrum with very high carbs. To run through the wines, the champagnes, the liquors again. Champagne or dry sparkling wine, about 1 gram. Dry wine, red or white, about 2 grams. I'm going to skip over that one again. Whiskey, 0 grams, and a dry martini, 0 grams. Thank you for your attention, and good luck on your low-carb diet.